Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadi Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adoration to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha Upashama Prakarana, section 58 continues. Sage Vasishtha presents this teaching in the form of a mystic story of Suraghu, a great king of Himalayan tribes, who practiced a lot of virtuous deeds, ruled his country for a long time. And his virtuous deeds opened a little channel in his mental world of what is the purpose of enjoying the power, the glory, and the controlling of the people, day by day, day by day. Should it continue forever? But he realized that it's the same thing repeats every day. Things that you have eaten up, next day vomited, third day you eat it up again. Fourth day spend in digesting it. I'm joking. Let's say quickly stated, all worldly attainments, they are means to an end, they are not the goal. They must help your soul to evolve and grow up. You give all types of toys to your children, but the goal is not for the children to stay with your bears and other toys. In the same way, God has presented this whole world as toys for boys and girls. And your goal is not to stay with toys. This point has to be understood. Also, it is not a question of your choice. You are going to live on. All your experience is coming through your brain and nervous system. And on that basis, how can you build up eternal security? So you have to stay out of your brain and nervous system. We'll figure that out. But keeping all this in view, Suraghu began to practice reflection and various types of meditation. And in course of time, a great sage Mandavya met the king, again showing the divine mystery, where the soul begins to develop aspiration led by good karmas. The divine plan presents act of grace. And that act of grace, a spiritual seeker meets someone who can guide the seeker in a profound way. This meeting, drawing a guru to yourself, or you being drawn to a guru, or any inspiring source, is not accident. If you are well entitled, you will be drawn to the right type of people. If you are not well entitled, you will be drawn to shaky type of personalities. In this process, Mandavya is now, Sage Mandavya is promoting enlightenment in King Suraghu. He is giving him various spiritual teachings. And behind all that story, the whole purpose is for you to listen to what's going on. It's not meant just for Suraghu. When Krishna gave teachings to Arjuna, he didn't mean that it should be just private for Arjuna. O king, thus should you reflect. What is the reality behind human relationships and the various objects of the world? Mind is so busy with worldly entanglements that you have hardly any time or a pause to reflect upon what is this all about. To grow up in a spiritual way, you have to create a time. You don't create it. If you begin to live diligently, space begins to open up. If you handle your apartment, your room in a correctly, and you have cleaned it all up, now your eyes turn towards your window and you create a crack. So far you were all focused on all the details of things that you have to do within your house. Every roach, every termite. I'm joking. All those, mind deals with so many things. From a very broad point of view, 90% of all things we are dealing with are roaches and termites. But we have no choice. We live in a practical reality. But there's another reality. In spite of all that, you have the reality of opening the window. How to allow that window to open within your heart. That's where comes in your satsanga, your japa, your good karmas. And when you have that type of setting, a channel opens. Your mind sees the life, you live the life, but a question starts in a serious way. Where can I find remedy for all my pain and misery? Led by your subtle good process, good karma, you are drawn to satsanga. You go to satsanga for fulfilling your desire. The satsanga outfoxes you. We have started with a totally different attitude, different expectation. But led by satsanga, you are now touched upon. Who am I? What's the goal? What is the eternal attainment, not perishable attainment? So with that, the king Thus should you reflect what is the reality behind human relationships and the various objects of the world. You sit back and say, oh, how wonderful family I have. So many children and grandchildren coming up. Let's look at their faces, how they are growing. How many teeth have come up. I'm joking. But what you don't think, that your fascination has spread out. What will happen if you are separated from the field of your fascination? Everyone that is given you such a wonderful feeling. Can you secure that person? Can you secure your own feeling? Should you stay in a world of insecurity in yourself, in the world you are seeing around you? Is this the mature state? So therefore, while all this goes on in your practical world, allow an internal movement of understanding that all this will pass away. But one thing is good, you will not pass away. But as long as you view yourself as your ego, of course, that you has passed away again and again. So many yous have emerged out of you. All yous are paying their dues. You are indebted, so you pay your dues. Every embodiment, you go through your karma. What's the reality, therefore? What should be your goal? Should you be just wandering like that? But what is it? The whole thing comes to inquiry into who am I? The I am in you. For easy understanding, think of so many reflected suns in countless jars of water. Every reflected sun is in turmoil, never settled. Where is the settlement for the reflected sun? An understanding I am the sun. It doesn't have to walk out, it doesn't have to take a trip to meet the sun. But a discovery through the same water content, the water of the mind becomes purified. The jiva in you, the reflected sun, becomes more and more intuitively aware that you don't have to go anywhere. You are all the time a reflection of the divine self. And when that understanding grows, as if water dries up, pot moves away, there's no more reflection. The sun alone shines. That whole process is your advanced state of sadhana. That's the state of jivan mukti. Of living in the pot, to see the pot, see the water transcended. See them all actually dissolve. The entire world that was experienced through a reflected state simply vanish. The divine self alone is real. I am, that am I. Seems like a big thing to attain. And every day you do it. Every day you go through all this. But in your You lie on the bed in the evening, what's your expectation? Whether you expect or not, when you sleep, all things that were so endearingly involved moves away. And you are in no way affected by the loss. Rather, you are very proud of the loss when you wake up. I knew nothing. What a wonderful time. So therefore, simple point, learn the importance of inquiry, vichar. Instead of letting all your vichar go after, how can I secure more money? How can I secure a relationship? How can I secure a certain problem of the world? Instead of keeping all that, I am not ignoring it. Be busy doing them. But that should not be your highlight. Your highlight should be, in spite of all that you do in the world, don't forget your central purpose of your life. And the more you become aware of your central purpose, better you handle the world in a way that you remain detached and face big challenges with patience and profound inner peace. Now these are the two. Who am I? What is the nature of the world? Who is subject to birth and death? Just as the ocean becomes calm with the subsiding of its waves, in the same manner, when your mind becomes free of worries and doubts, you will attain supreme serenity. Also try to understand, everyone wants to be happy. The Rasgullas give happiness. Rasam gives happiness. Different types of pleasures give their different happiness. But have you enjoyed the happiness that comes by internal fulfillment? When mind is relaxed, shama, serenity. As you begin to practice your sadhana, that little opening enters your mind when you begin to taste the joy of internal calmness. And that calmness is not dependent upon happenings of the world. When you go to sleep, your sleep is not dependent upon what's going on in the world. You simply enjoy sleep while all things go on in the world. Shama, therefore, is not contradicted by happenings of the world. And that potentiality of enjoying serenity exists within you all the time. So much so, if the entire world were to go through a turmoil, that serenity will not be disturbed. Patatyangar varshecha. If angar, burning embers, were to shower, vativa malayanile, or sandal fragrance blows with sweet breeze. One side terrible, one side simple. The inner peace, the serenity of a sage is not disturbed. But that's your ideal. How much can you go? That depends upon your own sadhana and your progress. But the ultimate goal is be serene like the sky. And the sky has not been disturbed. Ask it. So many things have happened and go on happening. And the sky doesn't hold even a single scar. That shama has to be understood. So when you become so thrilled in daily life, what you have accomplished, go into the corner of your heart and ask, how much shama have you enjoyed? Because that's your substantial gain. All your enjoyments is spread out. What you experience, now your mind is thinking, what will I experience next day? And next day. The worldly experience spreads out in time. And along with your experience, you will go on collecting more frustrations and less of your fulfillments. And that's the predicament of worldly life. But while all this goes on, you have the possibility, if you are maturely guided and you have become introduced to integral yoga. If you are not, then that's your project, to get introduced to it. Then day by day you begin to have more taste of serenity, more taste of good-heartedness. The heart does not hold anger and hate. More taste of being free from the acute pain in your head caused by ego inflammation. It's a big headache. So think of possessing a mind that's not affected by worries and doubts. You will become the emperor of the kingdom of the self. Movement towards self-realization enables you to discover that you are swatantra. Two words are used, swatantra, paratantra. Swatantra, you are free. You are the architect of your destiny. And you are the ruler. And more surprisingly, you have no kingdom to rule. You are the non-dual. Sun does not have a kingdom to rule. It simply shines. And that's Swatantra movement, discovering of I am completely free, comes to a state of absolute freedom called mukti. Mukti term is liberation. That's another term for the same freedom from the bondage. Freedom from the three knots, avidya, kama and karma. Ignorance, vasana, subtle desires, and karmas. These are three knots of the heart. You will become the emperor of the kingdom of the self. The term is being used to, because human mind is always holding the concept that highest attainment is attainment of great power. You become the ruler of all. So that tempts an aspirant. So that allegorical term is used. Even the great divinities will seek your favor. If you have attained enlightenment, that means you are enjoying liberation. Enjoying liberation is you are fully rooted in the revelation, I am Brahman. Comparing that experience of absolute moksha all the pleasures enjoyed by gods of heaven, celestial heaven, gods in heaven, they are not. They are souls led by good karmas, put into a position of heavenly enjoyment. Those souls are enjoying tremendous happiness compared to the happiness enjoyed by the world. Their happiness is far. So when you look at the world, they glorify themselves, how great am I. But when they happen to look at the saintly glimpse of the saints, they shrivel, they become like little moths. They were feeling they were swans, but now they become like little flies. In poetic language, they become extremely jealous at how much enjoyment is there when you attain liberation, and how little and stupid enjoyment is there when you stay in heaven. Even the greatest divinities will seek your favor. Your glory and majesty will be boundless. That's what Bhuma. All your pleasure in the world, led by all best of good karmas, remain in the realm of alpam, little, which implies it will gives you experience for a certain time, certain duration. The duration can be even in the terms of hundreds of years, but it is alpam. It passes on, it is transient. With the lamp of intuitional knowledge, you will become the giver of glory even to the boundless sky. How can we give glory to the boundless sky? It's allegorical terms. The idea is, if you move towards God realization, then everything that you see is viewed by you as your own self. When you view the sky as Brahman, you have given credit to the sky. You have really inspired the sky. It's not the sky that inspires you, you inspire the sky. If you have attained, you are moving towards revelation of who am I. The I am in you is greater than the sky, is greater than the Himalayas, profounder than the ocean, vaster than the entire universe. So with that revelation of I, you look at the world. You are the one giving favor to the world. The world is not favoring you. But these are very advanced writing. By you is not meant your ego. It is the reality, Brahman. In the light of truth, Brahman alone is. In the light of Sun God himself, Sun. All illuminations are little, no matter how wonderful they may be. Then just as an elephant cannot be drowned in a pit full of water created by a cow's hoof, so too he will no longer be drowned in the mundane entanglements of the world. The mundane web of vrittis of your mind, thought waves of your mind. That's your goal, and that's what's being highlighted in Yoga Vasistha. quoting from the Ramayana, Garal Sudha Ripukarai Mitai Gopada Sindhu Anal Shitalai. If you become Rama's devotee, Rama becomes your support. Poison becomes nectar, Garal Sudha. Ripukarai Mitai. All the idea of enemies around you, that enemies become all friends. The hurdle that is as vast like the ocean, very difficult to cross, Gopad. It becomes a little cow's foot. Even in that simile there is subtle mystery. Cow's foot. Cow is Vedas. Its footprint is the instruction you receive. And that instruction opens the door to cross over the ocean of the world process. Ripu Karayamitai. There is no Ripu, no enemy. Vishwamitra. The entire world is friend. But for those who are afflicted with the vices of passion, greed, miserly and vanity, referring to the malas, gross impurities, kama, krodha, lobha, mada, matsarya, kama, perverted desires, krodha, anger, lobha, constant greed, mada, pride, conceit, matsarya, jealousy. All these are again not just 6, but they are highlighted terms. These impurities, those who are afflicted by these impurities, they are easily drowned in the world process. They don't have that Gopad. The world opens up so many pits for pitfalls. And sometimes your falls are very physical type. And sometimes your falls are in a different level. You fall in a degraded state and yet you don't know it. Led by bad association. Suddenly you begin to delight in the company of people who are just eating, drinking and be merry. And when you begin to enjoy it, why have I delayed by those satsangas? What a world it is. So that type of mentality comes led by impurities of the mind. And if you are in that state of being happy in the world, led by your senses, by your mind, by your love of luxury, then smallest little thing will drown you. You become so weak and helpless, struck with sorrow and grief. That becomes normal. And there are some people become addicted to it. But that again, you just like to deal with diseases. You have to understand some people have made their ill health an acute problem because of not being aware how to live in a healthy way. The doctor's role becomes the role of compassion, patience, and a positive view. By depending upon the objects of the world through the subtle desires of the mind, you have brought yourself to a degraded state wherein you seem to be engulfed like worms in the marshes of the world process. Just as gold ore is subjected to purification until the pure gold is isolated. In giving insight into sadhana, what type of sadhana you should do. Vichara movement is that type of sadhana that is enabling you to emerge out of layers of illusion. Covered by layers of illusion, the illustration is gold. Gold that is mixed up with other minerals. But when it is subjected to constant melting, then all the gold becomes purified. When purified, gold itself remains secure. All that was causing impurity in it moves away. And that's also the definition of tapas. Live your life with the spirit of austerity. Austerity doesn't always mean that you have to get away from everything, sit in one pose and stay on in one foot. The real austerity is mind calming itself, any act of calming your mind, and awakening aspiration to inquire to who am I. That's tapas. Tapo brahmeti. Without tapas, you cannot attain Brahma. So attainment of Brahman is a matter of purification. You are already Brahman, but gold is already gold. But mixed with minerals doesn't look like gold. So subject it to a melting process. Until what happens, you are not adding anything to it. Gold simply shines up. The message is not to go after gold, you see, but it's an illustration. Subject your mind to meditation, inquiry, practice of dispassion. All that is termed as sadhana, and I'm not going to details. Your mind should not be attached to any object, anywhere and at any time, including your own body. Shouldn't be attached, simply it means in your understanding. Physically you can start detaching, that's not detachment. Physically you detach, but your mind is more attached. So firstly your attachments have to come under control. You start getting attached in a sattvic way. Don't get become involved with people who are degrading your mind. Kusanga, don't go after wrong company. Move away from rajasic, tamasic attachments. Promote more and more sattvic type of atmosphere. But even in sattvic attachment, now you have opened the door to be attached to God within human being. That state arises when you put sattva around you. Then even a smile of a child, you are seeing the smile of Krishna. And I'm just giving you one example. In all good relations and all good expressions of joyousness, in that you are seeing touch of God. So therefore, good activities done by aspirants, they are not done for securing karmic fruit, but they are done for securing your purity of your feeling. And that's your reward. How much love of God blossoms. Not how many good karmas have you done. You should be able to renounce all objects of the world, knowing them to be illusory. You should come to a state of renouncing bhur bhuva swa. That's for renunciation. In initiation and renunciation, the mantra is used. Bhuha sanyastam maya. All the world of practical details, nothing to do with it. All that you experience through your senses, they are not reality. Nothing you see through your eyes, and how you see things through your eyes, a bird doesn't have the same eyes. Birds, beasts, their hearing is different, their seeing is different. And even among human beings, even in a physical way, people don't exactly have the same experience. So what world you are working upon? The world based upon a limited perception and a mirage type of concept. This point has to get into the mind while living in the world. And that becomes possible if you are injecting bhakti, Godward movement, surrender to God, and recognizing God's love coming to you from different sources. And even in your adversities, God is behind it. He is catching your ears and scolding you. But why he catches his ears? One hand goes on your head. Because he's controlling over you, is out of tremendous love. No matter how much you go through, behind that, the divine purpose is profound love. So when that vision starts, that all this is permeated by God, the world moves by God's will. That's one stage. Next stage, all this is nothing but God expressing himself in different ways, in all names and forms. Ghat ghat mein hai Sai Ramata. In every individual, God dwells. When that happens, only then will you attain the intuitive realization. When your ego begins to melt away with the vision that God is, because egoistic vision, no matter how wonderful things come before you, it has given you a mirage type of experience. And nothing is real when you see in mirage. But instead of going after mirage, allow your ego to merge into Brahman. Become ego as divine truth of who am I begin to shine in your mind. Your ego-based experience becomes very little. Until as if it is void. That's called amanitva, absolute humility develops. And that's the purpose behind all mantras, Namah, neither me nor mine. If you tell the early stage, neither me nor mine, mind faces blankness, horror. But when your higher channel has opened of Godward movement, the more me and mine, greater is your joy. And all the me and mine begin to dance like clouds, and you are the sky behind it. In order to attain that state of intuitive realization, what's needed is Abhyasa and Vairagya. Two mantras are there. Abhyasa, persistent effort. A positive movement must be continued day by day. And the color of the positive movement is your integral yoga in daily life. You're attending 4 aspects of your personality. Aspect of your action. Consider all the 4 a part of your divine worship. How you handle the duties you have been given to. If your duty is just to make some tea, how do you handle it? Don't mix up abruptly because you don't have to take it. I'm joking, but the idea is whenever people say do work for God, your mind imagines, oh, I have to buy up 100-acre land and build big buildings that will give comfort. See, mind goes into a big plot. Come down to more sensible state. No matter what karma you do in daily life, a little touch that through that you are relating to God or God is watching over you. And even in your karmas, when you begin to do something good, God doesn't have much patience. He immediately touches your head. He inspires you. So your karma, the very way you deal with your active life, that's a tremendous help in your spiritual movement. Firstly, how to allow your active life to be spiritually enriching. Don't stay just gossiping over nothing. Stay in a state where you can help people to understand themselves, where you can share good understanding, help live in a way that will become a source of satsanga, so that can do jnana yajna, share new insights. And in that sharing, you find your life becoming more and more colorful. So that aspect is karma yoga. But while that aspect goes on, the feeling aspect now undergoes change. So much change that it's miraculous. Bhavana shuddhi. And that's bhakti movement. Your bhavana, your feeling in very advanced state does not hold negativity towards anyone. Doesn't hold any ill will. Ill will has no place. So I was talking about karma, your feeling, your will. There's always mind creates a will, resolution. This is what I have to accomplish. That that will should become surrender to divine will. Because when your will is not in tune with God's will, you are more working with perspiration and little highest, there is no inspiration behind it. The will that crushes you, makes you a paste. That's egoistic will. That will must come down in tune with God's will. And the entire path of this is Dhyana Yoga. How to work with your mind, calm your mind and connect your mind with higher. Shavasana, Yoga Mudra, and many ways yoga introduces stillness in your mind. Positive thinking, positive affirmations, all that allows your will to come to a state. I will realize Brahman. Is a will to become absolute brahmacharya. Brahman being the goal, your whole conduct is based on integral yoga. Your whole conduct begins to raise into higher level. I'm always moving myself to very high level. But will, changing your will from the degraded level to higher level changes your whole personality in a profound way. And that's a progressive movement. But if you succeed in it, by doing meditation every day. And so sharing as well with others. And finally, of course, your jnana. And that's the ultimate climax, your understanding. Your understanding has two stages. First stage, intellectually, you try to gain insights. Just like intellectually, when you find some tasty dish, first thing you do intellectually to find the recipe. But having found the recipe, you become satisfied and you are far from your dish. But you find the recipe and you begin to work upon it. So intellectual movement is learning Vedic scriptures with patience, gaining insight in the Upanishads, Gita, Brahma Sutras, or whatever literature. And as you go again it, going deeper, manana, reflecting upon it, until you assimilate it. As you assimilate it, it is no longer recipe, it is no longer cooking, it is gone into your stomach. And you are no longer weak, you are getting strengthened by spiritual food. Until you are becoming Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam, until your Pushti has gone into the highest level. Highest level, you are enlightened. Aham Brahmasmi, that's your health. Then you are Swastha. Swa is a self. Tha, established. Until then, don't call yourself healthy. I'm joking. I'm changing the joke. Until then, go on calling yourself, you are healthy. Aham Brahmasmi. With the intention of really being healthy. And with this I will conclude. ओम त्र्यंबकम यजामहे सुगंधिम पुष्टिवर्धनम उर्वारुकम बंधनान मृत्योर्मुक्षयमामृतात्। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ओम शांति शांति। हरि ओम तत्सत्।